How's it going, people? Welcome back to the Supporters Club. Today I have with me Deluded Guna, Troopz and Lee, a regular guest on the show obviously, and we're going to be discussing Mesut Ozil, our star player, highest earner. Well, obviously there's some reactions
I'm loving
there.
that.
There's some reactions there. Come on, I'm going to explain this in a bit, but let's start with Deluded because I know I'm a fan of Ozil too, but I just want to hear your side of things.
I mean, I love Mesut Ozil. I think we clearly lack him when he's not in the squad. The problem is consistency from him. I feel because of Mesut Ozil, when he joined the club and the period he joined the club at and the backdrop of the club, we speak about Mesut Ozil in extremes. He's either the best thing since sliced bread and you'll use statistics and them things there to back him up, or you'll just say he's nothing. So there's no balance. I do think he needs to pull it out and we do need a bit more consistency to a greater level from him, but there's no denying he's a massive player. Where we've gone probably wrong in hindsight is the new deal. I was saying he should sign a new deal, so I'm not going to sit here and change that. But when you look at the backdrop and the financial issues with the club, with Mkhitaryan's deal as well, we could have set ourselves up in a really bad state.
Yeah, because I look at that deal and I think I'm with you. At the time when the contracts were up in there, I wanted Sanchez and Ozil to sign. But I wanted Ozil to sign as second to Sanchez. That's how I looked at them two signing. Sanchez, to me, is a player that is a star player, highest earner, work rate 100, and he is a star man for a team. You can build around him. Whereas I see Ozil as a secondary side man type of guy, a perfect side man, but someone that can add something to a complete squad. Whereas we are far from a complete squad, so his flaws are obviously lacking. Now Sanchez is gone, he is the main man. So Troopz, Lee, let's start with Troopz. Go on. Ozil.
Me, yeah. Like when it was the whole Sanchez Ozil thing, everyone knows me. I was a Sanchez man, innit? You understand? Because I think Sanchez, Ozil, like, he's a star player, innit? You understand? He can change a game like that. But I think Sanchez brought more to the team. You understand? Sanchez was a man you could give him the ball, say run, and he'll run and bang the goal. You understand? Ozil's not a man where you can rely on him. You get me? When we won the FA Cup that season, when we beat Chelsea, it was Alexis' season, blood. You understand? How we got so close to getting top 4 that year, it was Alexis, blood. You understand? He was a big part of that. Ozil, it's like Deluded said, when he come, he was the big man. He was supposed to draw in everyone, and he probably drew in Alexis, you understand? Because Alexis thought, you know what, my man can feed me. It's a good link-up thing, but he just goes missing, fam, you get me? He's missing more than Madeline, fam. You understand? Like, I'm sure Madeline would have been found, blood, by this time, you get me? And Ozil's just, he's non-existent, fam, you understand? Big games, he goes missing. Like, there's games he showed up here, but they're home games, you understand? Like, the home game against United, like, People say he showed up in the Liverpool home game, the 3-3. He never, blood. He scored 1 goal, that was it. He did nothing in that game, blood. He did nothing in that game. That game was more Xhaka, if I be real, and Alexis, blood. You understand? Ozil did nothing in that game. It's the United game, the 3-0, he done his thing. The Chelsea 3-0, he done his thing. But away from home, this brother don't even play now, blood. We went to Anfield, and he's not even on the bench, like, you understand? Back spasm, neck spasm, toe spasm, tongue spasm. Every minute he's got a spasm, blood, you understand? For me, sell his clock.
Yeah, like you said in your last interview, it's gone from his back down to his knee,
I'm
down
telling
to
you,
his
toenail, like, the thing's working, blood, you understand? Like, I don't know what's going on, Gaffer, like, seriously, like.
And that's what I found, like, that's... Our interviews after games are emotionally charged. We've paid money to go to games, so when we see performances we don't agree with, our interviews, sometimes we can say things that can be taken out of context. With Ozil, we all know his quality. And I recently said in an interview, I'd re-offer Ramsey the same contract we gave and sell Ozil. And I got a lot of stick for that because previously I was like, get rid of Ramsey and keep Ozil. But that's because Ramsey was rejecting an offer of 170k a week. I'd go back in with that same offer for Ramsey. I'm not saying he's worth more now, but Juventus aren't offering much more. So if you want to stay in London, stay at the club, cool. But with Ozil, he doesn't even play games anymore. And we know he's quality. So when I say sell him, it's because our 350k player is not there 38 games a season. He's not there 30 games.
We're wasting P on him, fam.
That's exactly it. We are not a club where we can, like, 4 years ago, Arsenal spending 350k a week on one player. We wouldn't have imagined it. We were all hoping for it, but under our ownership, we all thought, nah, that's not going to happen. It's finally happened, and we've given it to the wrong man.
That's the thing.
Do you know what I mean, Lee? So it's...
Well, I look at it from this point of view is that, you know, going back into the George Graham era, we had a player called Charlie Nicholas that was at Arsenal. Would be the same sort of player, you know, fans' favourite. Used to, you know, everybody loved him, you know what I mean, and was mucking about earlier on. Yeah, I had the picture up on the wall, you know, and everything like that. But George Graham come along and didn't fancy him. For whatever reason, he didn't fancy him. Was I happy about it? No, not at the time. But at the end of the day, he gradually eased him out. And I look at it now with Emery, you know, he is not playing him for whatever reason. You know, like Emery is a good manager. Everybody's saying he's a good manager and all that. For whatever reason, he's not playing him. So it looks like it to me that he's easing him out. Now, when you look back at George Graham and all that, he didn't fancy Charlie Nicholas because there's no two ways about it. He was probably the most skillfulest player on Arsenal's books at that time, probably the most talented. But there have been questions about his work rate. Did he put a tackle in and all that? And exactly the same is now happening now. Yeah. But George Graham had a vision of how he was going to play, and look how that panned out. And I think that at the end of the day now, as fans, we've just got to back the manager on his decision. And the decision is that he's not playing Mesut Ozil. I look at games like Burnley when teams put 10 men behind the ball. The one player that you do need in the team is Mesut Ozil. And he will open up teams probably in the game a lot more than we would do. But what you have to look at that is even when we do play these teams, eventually we do open them up. Maybe not as a regularity when he's in the side, but we will eventually make chances. Is it worth the money and all that? To me, the issue's never been the money. It's whether you're doing it week in, week out. Now, we go to Liverpool and we get stuffed at Liverpool. People will then go, no, it's because we've not got Mesut Ozil. It's got nothing to do with that. You know, the fact of the matter is, we're in a position at the moment where Mesut Ozil has to rely on other people around him. And if you've got a sound, solid defence, sound, solid midfield players, I'm pretty sure that Mesut Ozil would shine. Yeah. But we haven't got that. So we have to look at it and start to make it from different perspectives. Sort out our back four, sort out our midfield. And if that means sacrificing Mesut Ozil, then so be it. George Graham, going back into the day, looked at that situation and said, right, he's not for me, so I'm going to out him. I'm going to bring in players like Paul Merson, Alan Smith, not as gifted as Charlie Nicholas, but certainly in that calibre. Paul Merson was a great player like that, but he wasn't as gifted as Charlie Nicholas. But that give us something different. We go on and win things, and I think that's now where we've got to get away from the mentality of one player. You know, because if a lot of our Arsenal fans think Mesut Ozil's a tennis player or something like that because it's an individual sport, it's not an individual sport, it's a team sport. It's about getting the right chemistry, getting the right... If you're baking a cake and you put too much sugar in it, it ain't going to be a nice cake. And at the moment, with Mesut Ozil in the side, we haven't got the right ingredients to be a top side, a challenge. And that is the problem. And fans have got to say that. It's not about having to go at Mesut Ozil. He's a fantastic footballer. But at the end of the day, is it the best in the long run for the team and in the long run for Arsenal?
Do you know what it is as well, yeah? Sorry to interrupt.
Nah, cool.
Ozil always has that. There's always an argument to Ozil. He had Ronaldo at Madrid. He's got Giroud. Look, no one can feed him. All right, we've got Aubameyang now. We've got Lacazette now. He needs someone to protect him behind him. He's got Xhaka. He's got Torreira. What the fuck more do you want, blood? Yeah. We've given you the ammunition in front to feed, and you've got the man behind you to protect you. But you still ain't fucking doing nothing, blood.
I've
had enough of this shit now, because every fucking minute is, this defend Ozil. Nah, I'm not defending him no more. Yeah. He's pissing me off, fam. He's taking the piss out of us, blood. 350 fucking grand a week, fam. And this brother's not here, fam. You understand? We gave him Aubameyang, we gave you Lacazette, we gave you you got wingers beside you, you got a Wolby, you could do a job sometimes, you understand? You got Torreira, you got Xhaka behind you, you got man that are giving you the balance to go and do your thing. And what are you doing, cuz? You understand? Fucking man.
To be honest, between the both of you, both said something that I can highlight. Like, I'm with you. Few years ago, I was saying he plays with Giroud. It's not ideal for him. I'm not gonna lie, I was saying that, and I believe that. But you're right. He's got Laka now. He's got better players around him.
Man that can finish the chances
exactly,
when they're getting it.
And he still hasn't kicked on. Now, what our fans need to realise is opinions change. You can change your opinion.
Exactly.
But a lot of our fans get stuck in the mindset of, that's our player, we must support him to the end. No. Like Lee just said, the word sacrifice. When we bought Ozil, go check my Instagram. I got the shirt printed a day before he was even announced. I was that gassed. Mesut Ozil was signing. But at the time, we all knew he's not the player we actually need, but it's a big name coming in. I was gassed. That was the last player I've got on my shirt. Since then, it's always been Turkish at the back, or Wenger at. In 1 year. But I was gassed. 2 years in, okay, 19 assists. We challenged for the league up until maybe March, I think it was, when Leicester won it. And things were looking all right. We got Sanchez in. But you look at the team now, and the word sacrifice is needed because we all know Ozil on his day is quality. And in 4 or 5 years, if we sell Ozil now and fix the areas we need, like defence, wings, in 4 years we might need an Ozil type. But we deal with it then. We don't need it now in 2019. But in 2023, we might need that person with composure that can unlock a defence. But we've got bigger problems now to deal with.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think that we're not in a position where Mesut Özil is vital. That is in a nutshell. That's nothing against Mesut Özil, the player.
Yeah.
He's a terrific footballer, but he is not what we require at this moment in time. You know, and if you have to sacrifice somebody, then for the good of the team and for the good of the club, that it's going to be there. You know, if we do not sort out our deficiencies in our defending, and that's not just as a back unit, that is in midfield as well, the whole lot.
Whole outlook.
From pressing up front to whatever. If we don't address that, we are going to fall short of Champions League every season. And that's not necessarily Mesut Ozil's fault.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Football's a harsh game.
That's it.
Turkish. It's you know, and sometimes because you're not rated by one manager doesn't mean to say you're not going to be another. But you know, he could go somewhere else and be the superstar.
That's
and
it.
people are going to turn around and say, why do we let him go and everything like that. Mesut Ozil will bring all this opinion on wherever he goes because that's the sort of type of player he is. Unfortunately, I do believe now, I don't know how everybody else feels about it, that it is, because there's so much a debate, it's causing the problems at Arsenal now. You know, like you daren't say anything against Mesut Ozil, you daren't say anything for him. You know, at the end of the day, we've united as a fan base over the Arsene Wenger thing, and we're getting divided now by a Mesut Ozil.
It's like Ozil in, Ozil out, bro.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Like, seriously, we've gone from Wenger out to Ozil in, Ozil out. Oh my days.
And the key behind it is the key behind it is Kroenke. It's not really Ozil. Like you just said, forget his football. It's how we look at Arsenal as a whole now. Like Deluded, look, when we look around the league, Chelsea's highest earner, Hazard. Liverpool's highest earner, probably Salah. Man City's De Bruyne and Aguero and them, man. Tottenham's Kane, Ali, Ericsson.
And they don't match up when it's us.
These men are putting in work at least every other game, if not every game. Whereas you go to Ozil and he might not even start some games. And the tricky thing with him is he'll be made captain when he comes back for one game. So is it actually an injury? Does Emery...
It's I think personally, without knowing everything, it's clearly something to do with the manager and him. He was starting at the start of the season. He was actually played out wide. He's been played all over the place. So there's something between the two that they need to sort out. I think Unai is in a bit of a tough decision. He has to clearly use him until the end of the season, but he clearly doesn't fancy him.
But if you were Unai, and I agree, that's how it seems. But then when he comes back and you make him captain, it makes me think, surely you're not
trying to get a reaction. It's trying to get a reaction. It's I can only put it as that. It's trying to get a reaction out of him. It's trying to galvanise him and things like that. And to be fair to him, I do think it has been there. Again, on what Lee was saying about extreme, sometimes when I do see certain things from him, it doesn't get recognised. His issue is he has always been a coaster. He's been at Madrid where it's not just him. You had X amount of players. He's come to Arsenal where clearly not Madrid, and we don't have players that pull it out. Yeah. He is the only kind of maverick player. So if we don't have any workhorses or people that are like Torreira and want, not even just Torreira's approach, just want to work hard, Ozil's always going to get dug out. I'm not excusing how Ozil's played or whatnot, but the penny's always going to drop on the star name with the most money and things like that. If we had more of an approach, like look at the Torreira deal, we got him for 20 or something million. How much players did we miss out on? Yeah. How many times did we sit here and say the missing link? Now I'm not saying if the missing link was there, Ozil would have done stuff, but we know at our club there's been several scapegoats to a degree, and I'm not absorbing Ozil with anything, but it was Mesut Ozil, it was Wenger. Kroenke deserves it, but it was Kroenke, and we weren't looking at any other individuals. Our problem is we haven't got a team. What I like about Unai Emery is clearly I don't think he knows his best squad, but clearly he doesn't rate any of these players apart from Torreira to a degree, Xhaka, to play week in, week out. We don't know our best side. There's clearly an issue with the whole outlook at creativity at this club. Yes, we've scored a ridiculous amount of goals on the counter-attack. We're lovely, but there's something to do with creativity here. So I honestly believe whether Mesut goes, stays or whatever, something needs to be done about creativity in this side and just being galvanised and just pulling your finger out, quite simply.
Being the star man and the highest and a fan of us, would he be the one you sacrifice for the greater good of the team? Because he is the one. We won't get a massive fee for him.
But how would you move him though? Because you could say I wouldn't advocate letting him go for free. You could say cut price, but his wages, who is it going to go for it? and he's not even playing in form where you could say it looks like a lucrative thing. Like, I don't think Ramsey's a better player, but Ramsey's in decent form. But you're seeing he's a free agent. When Ozil was a free agent, who was really interested? I don't know, 'cause I'm not an agent, but who was interested? You heard the China offers. He clearly doesn't want to go to China, so we can't move him out of there. So it's catch-22. We're kind of stuck with this.
He would have gone.
It just makes a great point there, and I think it's got to be highlighted that, you know, about Mesut Ozil, and because it seems like we're all having a go at him. I watched, you know, a fantastic game between Man City and Liverpool the other night, and Mo Salah never got a kick, didn't get a touch, and did he work hard? Did he track back? Did he do this? Did he do that? I thought, well, was he playing? You know, but after the game, there's nobody on social media, no one on afterwards on the pundits going, he done nothing. You know, was he worth his money? Was he worth this or worth that? It does seem to me that if Mesut Ozil does have a bad game, that everybody can't wait to jump on the bandwagon of him. You know what I mean? Now, I do feel that has got to be highlighted. There are games that, you know, people were criticising Sane in that game. You know, take him off. One bit of magic, and, you know, all of a sudden Sane is the greatest thing that you wish to see. When Mesut Ozil does one bit of magic against Burnley, you know what I mean? I know it's only Burnley. It's only this. It's only that. You know, he has a good game against one of the big teams. You know, let's see if he can do it in the next 6 or 7 games. They don't say that about other players. So I do feel that he does get a little bit of a rough justice somewhere along the line.
No, but you know why? That's the reason why they never really get a Salah in their man, because their man, they're consistent. You understand?
I get that.
Their man, they do their job. 9 times out of 10, Ozil's missing. So that's why people are more on him. That's actually the fact.
It's when you look at the end.
I understand what you're saying on that, but I do feel.
I hear you though.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Of course, he gets more stick than he should, because
Yeah.
one thing I'll mention is last year when it was all the Alexis and Ozil contract things, and everyone around November, December was like, no, Alexis needs the contract, Ozil maybe not. If you looked at their running stats last year, Ozil ran more than Sanchez every game.
Yeah, he did.
But because of the way he plays, he tends to get criticised.
Even look at the mistake. Look at the mistake versus Brighton. Ozil's tracking back, and people are saying that it's Mesut Ozil. Where is Kohler? I've been on. I love Kohler going forward. Defensively, he's a liability. Several goals. He is nowhere to be seen. At least Ozil is tracking back. Now, again, I'm not excusing Mesut Ozil, but it's things like this. People need to look at it from a balanced point of view.
Structure.
And it just feels like people have made their, like what Lee said, people have made their camps when it comes to Mesut Ozil. You're either in, out. He's crap. He's great. It's one of them. And it's not good for the club.
Like, I'll sit here and comfortably say and have a debate with anyone that Mesut Ozil is as good as David Silva. But he won't get the plaudits he gets. You put Ozil in Man City's team.
Fabregas or Ozil.
They're different, because Fabregas can play the long.
I hate Fabregas.
Fabregas can play the long ball.
10.
Yeah.
Ozil ain't got nothing on Fabregas.
Because
I'll be
Fabregas
real with
can
it.
play
And
from
I hate
behind.
Fabregas. Fabregas can provide. He can score. He can sit in the middle and run it. Ozil, like, I don't know, bruv. Ozil, like,
You reckon?
That's a great point.
If you said to me Fabregas or Ozil, I'm getting cess blood, because look, Ozil could only play in the 10. Only plays.
But I reckon
Fabregas,
he
you
can
can
play
put him
deeper.
anywhere in the mid. Anywhere. We had him playing DM blood, and he was still creating 15. And he was still getting 17 assists a season blood. As a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
The only reason he flopped at Barca is because he moved to Barca too early. There was no chance getting in that team, but because of his passion, the love of the club, he went. You understand? We fucked up not getting him back.
Of course we did.
And seeing that little pussy cry yesterday, or when I see him come off the pitch, made me sick. It made me sick, blood. Because I'm like, all the names that man used to call you, and you said you would shout out Lives. Yeah, shout out my brother Lives, Snake Fabregas blood, Because after all of that blood, but if you actually be real and you put Fabregas stats against Ozil stats, blood, Fabregas is clear.
Different class.
Clear. Fabregas consistently
Chelsea
gets 15
are a better
season.
team.
Yeah.
Chelsea are a better structure.
Exactly. I can't go along with that. Chelsea are a defensively better structured
Cesc was a
side than us.
passer.
What about
So
Cesc at Arsenal? I think Ozil had a better team than Cesc had at Arsenal, and Cesc still done more. Cesc was the lynch man. When you needed someone, you could turn. Fabregas. You can't turn and go, Ozil. You're looking. Where is Ozil? Where is he?
Where is he?
Blood? You
You
understand?
understand?
Different players. Says Fabregas, in my honest opinion, Troopz and anybody else, was a more all-round better player.
Definitely.
I have
All-round
to say that.
He's still a
He could
passenger
run
to a
games and all
degree.
that. And the biggest mistake I think Arsenal did was when they had the chance to bring him back, they didn't.
Yeah.
Because we had Mesut Ozil, and I think that's turned a lot of people against Mesut Özil because I think a lot of people wanted Cesc Fabregas to come back.
And that was wrong. And that was wrong.
We never had Ozil.
No, we did. No, we had Ozil.
Arteta.
No, we had Ozil because Wenger said that's why.
Yeah.
And why I disagreed with Wenger is because you can play Ozil 10 and you can play Fabregas behind. They are both creative, but they're different creatively. Ozil plays the through ball along the ground.
Ozil's the
Fabregas goes over the top
Fabregas
and the
is the
ground.
Santi.
Yeah,
He's the link.
He will get
You
into
understand?
him.
And then Ozil's the
So
finisher.
that was a big point in the last 10 years where I think we could have got that man back. He would have been the captain up until now. He would be retiring at our squad. We wouldn't have this every other game. It's a different captain.
Mate.
But here we are now talking about obviously Mesut Ozil, the guy that was sacrificed for.
All this sacrifice talk, blood. Bro, blood.
I just think at the end of the day, you've just got to look at what's best for the team. And for me, if I had the choice, you know, I would, as much as I think Mesut Ozil's a great player, I would get rid.
So sticking on that, you'd say you'd sell, and okay, you'd sell, and what area would you improve off that sale? Would it be centre back?
Centre backs, I'd get him off the books to buy 2 central defenders. I know we talk about, you know, like opening up teams and assists and things like that, and creativity. We still scoring goals. We still create chances, but we consistently keep letting in goals at the back. And if we don't improve on that, it doesn't matter if you've got Mesut Ozil or not, you're not going to get
Exactly, you could have Hazard and Salah.
Well,
Your defence is leaking 4 or 5 a game.
Because eventually you're going to get found out and you will lose games. You know, it's not rocket science, Turkish. When teams that win the league have got the best defence, and we at this moment in time have got one of the worst defences in the league. So we need to improve on that. And if that means that Mesut Ozil has to be sacrificed, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, then I'm happy to do that because I want what's best for the team.
Yeah, because one key thing this year, I think, if you all look at the first 4 or 5 games of the season with check and goal, we wasn't as fluid, attacking-wise, as we have been since Leno's been in goal. So it shows that Emery's philosophy of playing at the back, if we can improve, if we can get a ball playing centre back, if we can get maybe a cover for the left back or right back, and we improve that area, our attack can improve off the back of that because we'll have players who are more comfortable on the ball, get it through the middle, get it through the channel. Right now we don't have them players, so I'm with you. Yeah. I'd sell Ozil and fund either defensively or a winger. But then if we fund the winger, it's the same problems defensively. So I'm with you on that. I'd sell and fund the centre back. Troopz?
Yeah, same.
Same,
bro. Centre back, fam. We need a centre back. Centre back's more important than a winger. You understand? Defensively, we are all over the place, blood. Nah, man. There's got to be a centre back.
Yeah, 100%.
But not no idiot centre back.
No, we want well, I'm gonna say Koulibaly because that's the guy
Koulibaly's
that.
the dream, innit? It's never gonna happen.
Man. You ain't got bands for that, man.
I'd take someone on.
But you know what, Troopz? I'm vexed because we keep on saying it's never gonna happen.
I've been looking at Lewis Dunk, fam.
But Liverpool fans before Van Dijk would have said it's never gonna happen. We have to get out of the mentality of saying it's never going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, like you said, Conke is next.
Yeah, us is not the club.
It's the
I think it's the owner.
We're being too realistic for them. We're offering excuses for them.
We can attract a player like Koulibaly. We're the Arsenal, blood.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's the money, innit?
Exactly.
That's
we've become too realistic, whereas other teams' fans are still got that hope, ambition.
They have a right to
get that player.
We don't have a right to
Man
dream.
United, as shit as they are now.
True.
We don't have no right. We don't have no right to dream.
We're finished now.
We don't have no right to dream. I'm going to be honest. We don't have a right to dream.
It's the like
as long as Stan Kroenke is at this club,
it's been sucked out of us.
We're relying on Unai Emery to do work a miracle with Mislintat. It's not going to happen. I'd love to sit here and be wrong and look at this video and say I was talking nonsense, but it has to come from the shepherd.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'd like to be proven wrong, but Deluded, what would you do? Sell Ozil, keep Ozil?
I can't lie. I'll do everything to keep Mesut Ozil. I'll look at the books and see what I can, but if it has to happen, it has to happen, and you have to go big on the centre half or just get a competent and consistent centre half first and foremost. Whether that's a big name or someone can scout, so be it, but it has to be done.
Yeah, no, it seems like we're all in agreement. Do you know what I mean? We know he has the quality, but we know there's other areas to move the club forward. So, you know, thanks Lee for coming down. Troopz as always, Deluded. Thank you for coming down. Make sure you lot check out Deluded Gooner's channel. He does a lot of Arsenal stuff. His youth player analysis is on point. We're going to have a youth episode with him on it soon.
Definitely.
Let us know what you think about this episode. Should we keep Ozil or should we sell him? If we sell him, where should we fix in Arsenal now? Centre back, wingers, what should we do? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and do all of that stuff. Retweet, share, and we'll catch you next time.